Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Let's Move Austin. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, here with your host, Teresa Bashan. Welcome back, Teresa.
Hello, Chris. Hello, everybody.
We're talking like we're fired up here on our coronavirus series here.
We are. It's time to get the word out.
Yes, it is. And there's a lot going on. So I appreciate that you are keeping us up to date on some of the things that aren't in the typical news feed on a day-to-day basis.
Yes, I will not be covering the typical news feed items. You can count on that.
You.
There's plenty of avenues to get that information.
Thank you. Right. Well, we're going to talk. So go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was like, we're just going to talk about real estate because that's my happy place.
That's right.
We're going to stay there.
That's right. I love it. Well, we're talking like, it's interesting. We're going to talk about how do you buy or sell virtually, which is really interesting because everybody's quarantined right now. So like, does that mean I can't buy a house or sell a house? I'm assuming that's where we're going.
Well, get this. I mean, I don't know what you can do where you are because the rules, as you know, we don't have a national consensus. So right. I'm not speaking for other places. I'm speaking for Austin. Yeah. Real estate is considered an essential activity, which means we are allowed to do real estate.
Got it.
There are some changes that have taken place for public safety and just the security of our clients.
Yeah. Wasn't it? I thought I heard this past week, just this past week, that Texas opened. I don't know what that means. Like opened.
No, I mean, I think they're getting ready to open some things. Real estate was never closed in the strictest sense. Okay. We as realtors have taken a lot of precautions to protect our clients and ourselves and the health of the public. So in Austin right now, to go say to the grocery store, you need to wear a mask. Okay. So it would be very odd to see someone out looking at a house without a mask on.
Right.
But we're not doing like open houses because that would gather people unnecessarily. So it's a risk you don't need to take.
Right.
But yeah, like I've had several clients that have conducted real estate transactions since the shelter in place order. At first, when it happened, I didn't know if I would have any clients. And I have had some that were moving to Austin from other cities or other states. Like I have clients from Atlanta, they literally can't get here. So they're putting off their home search because they have too much uncertainty. So it has impacted, a negative, a percentage of people. But there are other people that literally have to move. My other clients that I have worked with extensively during this time, they got a job offer in Dallas, or they live in Dallas now, but their job transferred them to Austin. They waited and waited to find a house here. Their house in Dallas has sold. Finally, it was, coronavirus weekend, and they needed to look at homes here, or they were going to be homeless, which is also not good during a pandemic.
Right.
So we were very careful with our showings and our tours. We kept a distance from each other. I was the only one who touched any light switches or anything, and I wore a glove to do that. And then we used a lot of hand sanitizer. And I mean, it is possible to do this.
Yeah. Is there any virtual stuff? Like that's actually physically going out? Like, is there stuff where it's virtually happening too?
There are a lot of ways to minimize the contact at all.
Yeah.
So for sellers, what I'm doing, I call it a virtual sales program. Basically, we can do the whole scenario virtually. So if you're thinking about selling a home, instead of inviting me to see the home in person, we can do our consultation via video, kind of like you and I are.
Right.
Okay. So I can talk to my sellers this way, and I can run numbers. I can ask them, send me details about this room of your house or that. And we can really get pretty darn close to a list price without me seeing the property.
Right.
Maybe then I do one visit right at the time of contract. Just again, to minimize contact. My photographer is doing a great job with virtual reality home tours, including drone shots of the neighborhood, 3D walkthroughs of the property.
Nice.
And for my occupied listings, we're requesting that they only come see the house after they've looked at those 3D virtual tours.
Right.
So again, if there's something that, the potential buyer is going to rule out, let them see it on the tour before they enter the property.
Nice. Yeah. So creative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's going really well. People understand, on both sides, they're understanding.
Yeah.
So if there is an in-person showing, the precautions we take, we leave booties, gloves, um, uh, you know,
Masks.
disinfectant wipes.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
We leave all that at the property.
Hmm.
We do request that potential buyers only come in just the one adult or two adults in the transaction. We ask that children don't come because they're more likely to touch more things.
Right.
Um, and again, people on both sides are being very receptive of these requests.
That's good.
I generally go over and open the house, turn all the lights on, leave like the laundry room door open, do all that before the buyer's agent comes.
Right.
Again, to minimize the time they spend in the house and the amount of things they have to touch.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, when it comes time for contract, do you just do a DocuSign or some type of electronic signature, or how do you?
Yeah. We've been doing digital signatures in the real estate industry for a long time. And that's something that, I take for granted, but I realize if you haven't done a transaction recently, you may not be aware, you don't have to touch paper the entire transaction. Right. All the title work, the actual contract, it can all be done digitally,
right,
which is obviously very safe.
Yep.
And in Texas, and this may not be the case everywhere, but we actually, instead of going into the escrow company to sign your papers, the final papers, we're doing curbside escrow. Like we're doing curbside restaurants now.
Yeah.
You can actually sell your home, do your lending, do your actual documents right from your car, which again, there are actual documents in that case, but there's no physical presence. So it's pretty
nice.
slick. Yeah.
I like it. It's like a pop-up restaurant. It's like a pop-up escrow office.
I know.
Nice.
The only downside about that is, I will say, my favorite part of doing a closing is when I get to, hand the keys to my buyer, or, help my seller say goodbye to their home. And because of the limited contact, the realtor's not allowed to be there right now. So we're doing a lot of virtual high fives and
lots of emojis.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just going to ask you about the buy side. I mean, how does that work virtually?
Some of the things cross over, of course, but on the buy side, I have had clients that have asked me, they're curious about a house, but do they really, they're not sure, the urgency might be there if they like it, might not be. They'll ask me, could you just go look and see if it's got the floor plan we like? So I'll go look at the house. Again, I've been in a lot more houses than most people.
Right.
And so I can go through and just take a really quick look. Is it a yes or a no for my client? Is it a potential or is it a rule out?
Right.
And that also saves the amount of people coming through the house. So we do a lot of virtual home showings as well, where, I'm asking if I represent the buyers, maybe the listing agent doesn't have one of those cool 3D home tours.
Right.
But I'll ask, could your sellers take a video of the master bathroom and the closet? If those are my clients' hot buttons, can they just do a walkthrough of that area? And again, it may just be that's enough to pique my client's interest or rule that out. So we're getting more specific in our requests. Instead of dragging your clients out to look at every house that might work for them, we're honing in. And I appreciate that level of specificity. And most of my clients, everyone's kind of bored right now, but not to the point where they want to go look at houses for no reason.
Right.
Yeah,
well, is there a way that buyers can sort of prime the pump, is what comes to mind, of before they ever look at houses, giving you an idea of what kind of floor plan? Is it Pinterest? Here's some Pinterest boards that I have. And
right. Well, most of my buyers, we do a pretty good buyer consultation going into it. So I'm pretty aware of what they're looking for. Most people aren't just like, oh yeah, just any old 3-2, that's fine. Just give me 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. And most people, I try to talk to my clients to draw out of them what they're really looking for.
Right.
And so that makes it easier, to be specific with our requests.
Nice. Really good. I like it.
Also, another thing that's new though, new in the time of coronavirus, is home inspections. The home inspectors really prefer no one is attending the inspection at this point.
Yeah. Because
they're also trying to limit their exposure. So they're doing video conference inspection reviews. So like they used to email the report to you.
Right.
Well, now they are, on a Zoom call, much like this, in a video, and they'll walk through what they found in the home. And a lot of them are taking extra pictures so that they have it this exact point to go over with the buyer.
Actually, I like that better.
That's been nice.
I might like that better than a normal.
Yeah, well, it's easier to schedule. Most of these are taking place in the evenings, whereas actual inspections take place like in the middle of a client's workday, and that's kind of hard to get to. So I think that's something that might actually catch on, when these showing restrictions are lifted.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I wonder, I always have that thought, like, I wonder what else is going to be something we prefer now that we're trying life a different way. We're like, I actually prefer working from home.
Yeah, I do not prefer showing homes with a mask on. It feels very strange to be like in someone else's house, like a bandit. Right. And it makes it harder to, really assess what my clients are thinking, their nonverbal cues. So, I mean, there are definitely things about this that I'm ready to set aside, but when it's, safe, I'm sure we will.
What if you just had like a handkerchief that had like a design on it? Would that be better for you? Different? More acceptable?
It does kind of look like a bandana. It's just hard. You realize how much nonverbal you miss.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's nice to know in this time that all of life has not stopped and come to a screeching halt. There are ways to keep moving your goals and your life intentions forward, like buying or selling a house, even if that means virtually. It is being done.
Right now, interest rates are very, very low. So there's a balance, right? People don't want to do anything that's unsafe. But at the same time, if their plans were to buy this spring, there's really no reason to hold off.
Right.
We just do it with the precautions.
I almost see like there's a benefit for both buyers and sellers too, that if some sellers have decided not to sell right now just because of the unknown and you put your house on the market, that means that there's less competition for your house.
Oh, no. We're still seeing multiple offers. And
is that right?
Up until about the $700,000 price range in Austin, it changes a little at the higher price ranges, but I would say what I consider first time and, kind of the typical family home, second home purchase. No, it is very competitive because some sellers have decided to hold off. There's still a whole lot of buyer demand.
Yeah.
So we still have very low inventory.
Right.
At least today. This is April 25th. That's how it is today.
That's right. Yeah. Really good. Well, I like that I like that you're bringing some perspective to all of this in the real estate world. It's really good.
Chris, I hesitated to make any of these kind of public comments too early because I felt like it was still too volatile and we didn't really know where it was going to end up. But I feel like this is a decent amount of time in where I'm comfortable putting the word out.
Yeah. And to our point in the last episode where we talked about, forbearance and market early indicators of things, like you can already start to see some of those indicators now starting to come up. So once the indicators start firing, you're like, oh, okay, now there's something to talk about.
Right.
Yeah. So good. If people want to reach out to you and virtually learn more about buying and selling in this market, how do they reach you?
Well, my email address is on the screen, as is my phone number. Even though I have clients active, I'm spending a lot more time at home, just like I'm sure most of us are. So if anybody wants to call me, that would be great. I really appreciate the ability to talk because my teenage daughter doesn't, really communicate with me. No. So words are good. Feel free to call me.
Yeah. And what's your phone number?
512-297-3442.
Awesome. Teresa, thank you so much. We'll see you in the next episode of this series. And until then, take care.
Okay. Bye, Chris. Bye, everybody.